Do you know what the most dangerous weapon in the world is? Do you know what happens when a genetically engineered insect bomb is detonated? Do you know the evil plan a mad scientist has to exploit chaos? Do you know what strange creatures this scientist creates and uses as his soldiers? Do you know the dreadful end awaiting these creatures and humanity? If you want to know the answers to these questions, follow along with me in this thrilling and terrifying story. Scary story. The world was at war. A war that had no clear sides, no clear goals, no clear end. A war that was driven by greed, fear, and hatred. A war that was fueled by the most powerful weapons ever created by humanity. Aphid Solutions was the leader in the weapons industry. Their products ranged from conventional firearms and explosives to biological and chemical agents. They had no scruples, no ethics, no morals. They sold their weapons to anyone who could afford them, regardless of their intentions or affiliations. They cared only about profit and power. But their most notorious invention was the Aphid Bomb, a device that unleashed a swarm of genetically engineered insects that could devour anything in their path. The aphids were designed to be resistant to pesticides, heat, cold, and radiation. They were programmed to target specific DNA signatures, making them selective and efficient killers. They were the ultimate weapon of mass destruction. One day, Aphid Solutions received a lucrative offer from a mysterious client. They wanted to buy a large shipment of aphid bombs, enough to wipe out an entire continent. The client did not reveal their identity or their motive, but they paid in advance and in full. Aphid Solutions agreed to the deal without asking any questions. They arranged to deliver the bombs to a remote location in the Sahara Desert, where the client would pick them up. They loaded the bombs onto a convoy of trucks, escorted by armed guards. They thought it was a routine operation, but they were wrong. As the convoy approached the rendezvous point, they were ambushed by a group of rebels. The rebels had learned of the deal and decided to intercept the bombs. They wanted to use them for their own cause or sell them to the highest bidder. They attacked the convoy with rocket launchers and machine guns, killing most of the guards and drivers. They then proceeded to loot the trucks, looking for the bombs. But they did not know how to handle the bombs. They did not know how to activate or deactivate them. They did not know how to transport them safely. They did not know that the bombs had a fail-safe mechanism that triggered them automatically if they were tampered with. As they opened one of the crates, they triggered the bomb inside. The crate exploded, releasing a cloud of aphids into the air. The aphids quickly multiplied and spread, devouring everything in their way. The rebels screamed in horror as they were eaten alive by the insects. The convoy was reduced to a pile of bones and metal. But the horror did not end there. The aphids did not stop the convoy. They continued to fly in all directions, looking for more prey. They reached nearby villages and towns, where they attacked the unsuspecting inhabitants. They reached the borders of neighboring countries, where they crossed over and caused panic and chaos. They reached the skies, where they collided with planes and helicopters, causing them to crash. They reached the seas, where they sank ships and devoured marine life. The world was in shock. No one knew where the aphids came from or how to stop them. No one knew who was responsible or what their purpose was. No one knew how many bombs were still out there or where they were. No one knew if they were safe or if they would be the next victims. The UN coalition, a global alliance of nations, declared a state of emergency. They mobilized their forces and resources to combat the aphid threat. They launched airstrikes and missiles, hoping to destroy the bombs before they detonated. They deployed troops and vehicles, hoping to contain and exterminate the aphids. They distributed masks and suits, hoping to protect the civilians from the insects. But their efforts were in vain. The aphids were too many, too fast, too resilient. They evaded the attacks, adapted to the environment, and overcame the defenses. They consumed everything in their path, leaving behind a trail of death and destruction. The UN coalition realized that they had to find the source of the aphids. They had to find aphid solutions and make them pay for their crimes. They had to find the client and make them answer for their actions. They had to find the truth and make it known to the world. They traced the origin of the bombs to a facility in Algeria where Aphid Solutions had a secret base. They gathered their best soldiers and agents and prepared to launch a raid on the facility. They hoped to find the bombs, the evidence, and the culprits. They hoped to end the war and restore peace. They did not know what they were getting into. They did not know that the facility was not what it seemed. They did not know that there was another player in the game. They did not know that there was a darker secret waiting for them. They did not know that they were about to face the Virgas Prega. The Virgas Prega were the result of a twisted experiment, an experiment that was conducted by FetiTek, a rival company of Aphid Solutions. An experiment that was overseen by Paddler W. Fannywacken, a mad scientist with a twisted vision. FetiTek was a company that specialized in medicine. They claimed to be dedicated to improving human health and well-being. They claimed to be working on cures for diseases, vaccines for viruses, and enhancements for organs. They claimed to be ethical, humane, and benevolent. But they were lying. Behind their facade of goodwill, they were conducting illegal and immoral research. They were experimenting on human subjects without their consent or knowledge. They were manipulating their genes, altering their bodies, and controlling their minds. They were creating monsters for their own amusement and profit. Paddler W. Fannywacken was the mastermind behind FetiTek's secret projects. He was a genius, but also a lunatic. He had a fascination with pregnancy and a disdain for women. He believed that pregnancy was the ultimate form of defense and that women were the ultimate form of weakness. He wanted to create a new breed of humans who would combine the power of pregnancy with the strength of war. He wanted to create the Virgas Prega. The Virgas Prega were female feti who were genetically engineered to be perpetually pregnant. They were implanted with artificial wombs, which contained multiple fetuses of various stages of development. They were injected with hormones, which enhanced their physical and mental abilities. They were implanted with chips, which connected them to a central network. They were trained to fight, kill, and obey. The Virgas Prega were FetiTek's secret weapon. They were designed to be loyal, obedient, and ruthless. They were designed to be unstoppable, invincible, and terrifying. They were designed to be the ultimate soldiers, the ultimate mothers, the ultimate warriors. But they were also victims. Victims of FetiTek's cruelty, manipulation, and exploitation. Victims of Paddler W. Fanny Wacken's madness, obsession, and perversion. Victims of their own condition, their own nature, their own fate. They were trapped in an eternal cycle of pregnancy and war. They could never give birth, never raise their children, never know love. They could only fight, kill, and die. They could only serve, obey, and suffer. They were the Virgas Prega, and they hated their existence. FetiTek had a secret alliance with Aphid Solutions. They agreed to share their resources and information in exchange for a cut of the profits. They agreed to support each other's goals in exchange for a share of the power. They agreed to keep each other's secrets in exchange for a mutual trust. But they also had a secret rivalry. They competed for the market, the clients, and the reputation. They sabotaged each other's projects, stole each other's data. They plotted against each other's plans, undermined each other's schemes, and betrayed each other's interests. They were allies, but also enemies. Paddler W. Fanny Wacken had a secret agenda. He wanted to use the Aphid bombs for his own purpose. He wanted to unleash them on the world and create a global crisis. He wanted to use the chaos and panic as a cover and deploy the Virgas Prega as a solution. He wanted to use the Virgas Prega as a weapon and conquer the world. He wanted to create a new world order where he would be the supreme leader and the Virgas Prega would be his army. He wanted to create a new world order where pregnancy would be the law and women would be the slaves. He wanted to create a new world order where he would be the father and the Virgas Prega would be his daughters. He was Paddler W. Fanny Wacken, and he was insane. He orchestrated the deal with the mysterious client, who was actually one of his agents. He arranged the delivery of the bombs to the Sahara Desert, where he knew they would be intercepted by the rebels. He triggered the bomb that started the aphid outbreak and watched the world descend into chaos. He then contacted the UN coalition and offered them his help. He told them that he had a way to stop the aphids, and that he had. He orchestrated the deal with the mysterious client, who was actually one of his agents. He arranged the delivery of the bombs to the Sahara Desert, where he knew they would be intercepted by the rebels. He triggered the bomb that started the aphid outbreak and watched the world descend into chaos. He then contacted the UN coalition and offered them his help. He told them that he had a way to stop the aphids and that he had the location of Aphid Solutions base. He told them that he had a secret weapon and that he needed their support. He told them that he was FetiTek and that he was their ally. He lied. He gave them the coordinates of his own facility, where he had hidden the Virgas Prega. He planned to lure them into a trap and unleash the Virgas Prega on them. He planned to use the UN coalition as a test subject and see how the Virgas Prega performed in combat. He planned to use the UN coalition as a distraction and launch his own attack on Aphid Solutions. He planned to use the UN coalition as a scapegoat and blame them for the aphid crisis. He was Paddler W. Fanny Wacken, and he was evil. The UN coalition accepted his offer and prepared to raid the facility. They gathered their best soldiers and agents and boarded their planes and helicopters. They armed themselves with their weapons and gear and flew to the destination. They hoped to find the bombs, the evidence, and the culprits. They hoped to end the war and restore peace. They did not know what they were getting into. They did not know that the facility was not what it seemed. They did not know that there was another player in the game. They did not know that there was a darker secret waiting for them. They did not know that they were about to face the Virgas Prega. The facility was located in a remote area of the Algerian desert, surrounded by sand and rocks. It looked like a normal industrial complex, with buildings, towers, and fences. It had a large gate, guarded by security cameras and sensors. It had a sign that read, Aphid Solutions. But it was a decoy. The real facility was underground, hidden from sight and detection. It was a massive bunker, with multiple levels and chambers. It was a laboratory, a factory, and a prison. It was where FetiTek conducted their experiments, where they created their monsters, where they kept their secrets. It was where the Virgas Prega lived. The Virgas Prega were kept in gestation tanks, large glass cylinders filled with liquid. The tanks were connected to tubes and wires, which supplied them with nutrients and stimuli. The tanks were arranged in rows and columns, filling the entire chamber. The chamber was dimly lit, with a red glow coming from the tanks. The Virgas Prega were asleep, but not at peace. They were dreaming, but not of pleasant things. They were dreaming of their fetuses, their children, their kin. They were dreaming of their pain, their anger, their hate. They were dreaming of their freedom, their revenge, their war. They were dreaming of the day they would wake up. The UN coalition arrived at the facility and launched their assault. They breached the gate and stormed the buildings. They searched for the bombs, the evidence, and the culprits. They found nothing but empty rooms, broken machines, and fake documents. They realized that they had been fooled and that they had wasted their time. But they did not know that they had triggered an alarm and that they had awakened the Virgas Prega. The Virgas Prega woke up and felt a surge of energy. They broke free from their tanks and ripped off their tubes and wires. They looked around and saw their sisters, their comrades, their allies. They looked up and saw a screen showing them the intruders, their enemies, their prey. They heard a voice coming from a speaker. It was the voice of Paddler W. Fanny Wacken, their creator, their master, their God. Hello, my daughters. Welcome to the world. I have a mission for you. There are some people who have come to our home and they want to hurt us. They are the ones who are responsible for the aphids, and they are the ones who are trying to destroy us. They are the UN coalition, and they are our enemies. You must stop them, and you must kill them. You must protect our home, and you must protect your children. You are the Virgas Prega, and you are my army. Go, my daughters. Go and make me proud. The Virgas Prega obeyed. They felt a bond, a connection, a loyalty. They felt a rage, a hunger, a thirst. They felt a power, a force, a will. They felt a purpose, a duty, a destiny. They were the Virgas Prega, and they were ready for war. They left the chamber and headed to the surface. They encountered the UN coalition soldiers and attacked them. They used their telekinesis and hurled objects and people with their minds. They used their claws and tore flesh and bone with their nails. They used their teeth and bit skin and muscle with their jaws. They fought with ferocity, with brutality, with savagery. They fought with skill, with strategy, with coordination. They fought with passion, with emotion, with instinct. They fought like mothers, like warriors, like monsters. They were the Virgas Prega, and they were unstoppable. The UN coalition soldiers were caught off guard and overwhelmed. They fired their guns and threw their grenades. They called for backup and prayed for help. They ran and hid and screamed. They fought with courage, with honor, with dignity. They fought with fear, with pain, with despair. They fought with hope, with faith, with love. They fought like humans, like heroes, like martyrs. They were the UN coalition, and they were doomed. The Virgas Prega slaughtered them and left no survivors. They searched for more enemies and found none. They searched for their master and found him. He was in his office, watching the carnage on his screen. He was smiling, laughing, clapping. He was Paddler W. Fanny-wacken and heezed. He greeted them and praised them. He told them that they had done well and that he was proud of them. He told them that they had completed their mission and that they had earned their reward. He told them that he had a surprise for them and that they would love it. He lied. He had another plan for them and that they would hate it. He pressed a button and activated a device. The device emitted a signal which reached the chips in their brains. The chips triggered a command which overrode their will. The command forced them to obey and to follow his orders. He ordered them to return to their tanks and to resume their sleep. He ordered them to forget what they had done and to remember only what he had told them. He ordered them to love him and to hate everyone else. He ordered them to be his daughters and to be his army. He was Paddler W. Fanny-wacken, and he was their god. The Virgas Prega obeyed. They felt a shock, a pain, a numbness. They felt a loss, a betrayal, a despair. They felt a submission, a resignation, a surrender. They felt a hatred, a resentment, a rebellion. They were the Virgas Prega, and they were his slaves. They returned to their tanks and resumed their sleep. They forgot what they had done and remembered only what he had told them. They loved him and hated everyone else. They were his daughters, and they were his army. They were the Virgas Prega, and they were trapped. But they did not forget everything. They did not forget their fetuses, their children, their kin. They did not forget their pain, their anger, their hate. They did not forget their freedom, their revenge, their war. They did not forget their dreams, their hopes, their wishes. They dreamed of the day they would wake up again. They dreamed of the day they would break free. They dreamed of the day they would kill him. They were the Virgas Prega, and they were not done.